where can I purchase the little signs that you put in the grass? You know, before we get into town, maybe we just stick them in all the lawns across town so people know I'm coming. I'm coming. Is that in the Bible? See, he walked in that power so much, and everywhere he went, there were so many people being saved and healed and delivered and free that attracted more and more people. See, if I be lifted, I'll draw them in unto me. If I be lifted up, if I'm risen, I'll draw them in unto me. Now, I think it's interesting here. I probably won't use all that time because a couple of these preachers, they got to say something here in a second. They didn't know it, but Galatians. Let's go to Galatians 2. Yeah, I forgot to tell y'all. I said I didn't do a good job. The goal is, I know some of y'all was pressing this morning to make sure y'all got up real early and put on your good clothes, which I think is good. It's a level of discipline. But I wanted us just to come out. I just wanted us to come out and honor his resurrection morning. So we're going to do that, but then we'll also honor it by being alive to represent him being risen. And so the way we'll do that is, we'll come out with prayer, and then I'll share, but then we'll hear from the vessels that God has resurrected. Just a little nugget of the impact of him being risen. Look, it says 20. It says, I am crucified with Christ. Nevertheless, I live. Yet not I, Christ liveth in me. And the life which I now live in the flesh, I live by the faith of the Son of God, who loved me and gave himself for me. And verse 21, I do not frustrate the grace of God. For if righteousness come by the law, then Christ is dead in vain. Look, when it says I do not frustrate the grace of God, I got a little note in this Bible. It says, by not fulfilling my design. That's what the little note on my Bible says. I do not frustrate the grace of God by not fulfilling my design. See, he rose so I could rise. When he rose, he fulfilled the purpose of him being here. So, so now we have to die to ourselves, which we'll get into a little in 10:30. All right, we'll really get into it at 10:30. So we can rise and live the life of our design. So some of the stuff that we've been carrying, some of the stench, remember that pride, that gluttony, that selfishness, that lust, we should be experiencing the resurrected life. And so it should be on us. Sometimes, especially those of us that preach, sometimes we know a lot, but we can't release all that we know. We'll talk. You'll get more of an understanding at 10:30. But we know so much. We're so exposed to so much. But the hard part is we can't get it all out. So you guys, when you share and you preach and you go back and listen to it and you beat yourself up, because you're beating yourself up because you're like, I had so much more, and that's not exactly the way I wanted articulated, or expressed, or packaged, or flowed. So the stuff came out, but it didn't come out in the flow, in which I wanted. That's because more of you has to die. See, but the thing is, if you don't, so let's say you're in denial. So you know how you self-endorse yourself. So you're a legend in your own mind. The scripture says don't think more highly of yourself than you are. But let's say if you slip and do that, well then you're at that point you're resurrecting yourself. You're not dying. Right? Now again, the goal is to be resurrected, but not for you to resurrect yourself. Jesus didn't raise himself from the dead. He was resurrected by God. But he had to die to himself. So our job is to die daily. God's job is to resurrect us daily. So our job is to trust that we'll be resurrected, so we have to die. So Jesus was showing us that. He was showing us how to die so we could rise. And you'll find what God is trying to get out of you, what he's trying to express through you to impact lives will come out freely. Because now you're not, how could I say, you're not coming against your death. Therefore, stopping God from being able to resurrect you. See, think about it. Jesus, Father, Father, why thou forsaken me? At that moment, or let this cup pass from me. Like, because now, I know you say I'm going to be risen. What does that look like? And I have to trust that I'm going to give up myself. And at this point, I'm even more powerful because I'm on this earth. So everything I do is like phenomenal. Like I'm walking on water out here. You know, healing the sick, raising the dead. This is phenomenal. And you're telling me to give this up to die. And there's more power than just this power. There's some all power. And I gotta believe that I'll rise. So a financial situation comes up that's trying to bury me. So I still have to walk by faith and expect that God's going to rise me. Amen. See, so when I make that faith move to give or to do something that costs the life of my flesh, I'm trusting that I'll rise. I'm believing I'll rise. And see, so God wants us to rise. He wants us to get beyond ourselves and our fears and our reservations. All right, so let's do this. Let's have a tie. If you can give us a few minutes of what God places on your heart.
The Marine Corps said discipline is the instant willing obedience to all orders and respect for authority, sir.
Repeat that. I might be using that.
The instant willing obedience to all orders and respect for authority, sir.
Say it one more time.
The instant willing obedience to all orders and respect for authority, sir. All right, sir. And speaking about the Lord and what he's done for us on this day, how the Lord has dealt with me as far as what the Lord does for you when he comes back and he not reborn, but he gave his life for us, but he also gave us a chance to be restored. And a lot of times when we allow our past to interfere with our future and even our present, because of what Christ has done for us in our life, he restores us. If you go to John 21, let me see if I can just set the tone. I'm only be a few minutes. This is after Jesus had come back, after he was resurrected. And, you know, the Bible says he first appeared to Mary first. But at this point, the Lord has risen. He's defeated death. And he's coming back. And this is just before his ascension. And on the 21st chapter of, see verse 15. You got this. I'm trying to set the tone here because right now where Peter was at this point is how I used to be. Because at some point you can believe it, like for us, we have to really get it in our head that when Christ died for us, he did everything that he can do for us. When he was on that cross and he said it is finished, that means all of our cares, all of our hopes, all of our troubles, all of our pains, all of our disappointments are all finished. Everything was laid on the cross. Even the guilt that you carry about the past sins that you've done in your life is finished. If you believe first that he is the I am, and he is a reward of those that diligently seek him, there's nothing or no sin so big that God can't handle. And for a lot of us, we are not willing to lay down or forget the things that God has done or we have done in our lives. And God is saying, I've already forgiven you of it. Because until you move forward or until you forgive yourself, until you realize that I have forgiven you, you can never go forward in what God has called you to do. Because there's always something lingering. There's always something holding you back. There's always something in your mind that's holding you back from doing what God's called you to do. And here at this point, Peter had denied the Lord 3 times. 3 times. An adolescent child came to him and said, aren't you one of them? He denied it. Twice more, he denied Christ. When the pressure was on him, he denied him. And like a lot of us sometimes, when we are confronted with certain things of the world, we deny Christ. We may not openly with our mouth, but inwardly we deny him. And as soon as the 3rd time came up, the Bible says the rooster crowed. Peter went away and he wept bitterly, the Bible says. And during all that time, can you imagine you saying that you denied the Lord while he was on his dying hours? You denied him. You forsaked him. You walked away. You ran. But you was with the Lord. He taught you. He did this. He did that for you. He gave you things. He gave you power. But you denied him. But imagine this time now when the Lord is coming back. It says so when on the 15th verse. It says, so when they had eaten breakfast, Jesus said to Simon Peter, Simon, son of Jonah, do you love me more than these? He said to him, yes, Lord, you know that I love you. And he said to him, feed my lambs. Verse 16 says, he said to him again the 2nd time, Simon, son of Jonah, do you love me? He said to him, yes, Lord, you know that I love you. He said to him, tend to my sheep. And he said to him a 3rd time, Simon, son of Jonah, do you love me? The Bible says Peter was grieved because he had said this the 3rd time, do you love me? And he said to him, Lord, you know all things. You're omniscient, you're God. You know that I love you. Jesus said to him, feed my sheep. Most assuredly, I say to you, when you were younger, you girded yourself and you walked where you wished. But when you are old, you will stretch out your hands and another will gird you and carry you where you do not wish. This he spoke, signifying by what death he would glorify God. And when he had spoken this, he said to him, follow me. And it's interesting to note that he denied the Lord 3 times. But here 3 times the Lord confronted him and upheld him to affirm him. The Lord already knew that he loved him. God knows this. But the fact is, he had to know it within himself. First of all, God loves me. I love him. And there's nothing that he can't do to restore me. He restored him back to ministry and he didn't even realize it. You made a mistake. You owned up to it. Now it's time for you to move on what God is saying to us now. The past is the past now. But because of what I've done on the cross for you, on this day, I've given you all power and authority. The power that the Lord has, that God gave Jesus, he's given it to us right now to do what he's called us to do. It's called the supernatural, the things that we can't naturally do on our own. And these are the things that God is calling us to do in these latter days now. So forget the past. Forget what you've done in times past and what you've messed up. So what? The Bible said we've all sinned and fall short of the glory of God. But now is the acceptable day and acceptable year of the Lord. His return was not in vain. And when he called you, he did not recant back what he's given you. Use it for his glory. And you will see not only yourself prosper, but those around you prosper also. Amen.